So if you guys are in the United States, tomorrow, actually today, as of the airing of this episode, it's Thanksgiving. And so you're probably looking forward to family, to fun, and to the food. So I thought today what I would do is give you some tips to get through Turkey Day and help you stay on track as you do that. And really, I thought about recording this episode, to tell you the truth, because I thought, like, do I want to really record an episode that's just completely focused on Thanksgiving? Like, would you benefit from that? But here's the thing. Every bit of what I'm going to share with you will absolutely help you manage Thanksgiving in a way that doesn't bring on guilt or you feel like you've gorged yourself or any of those things. Absolutely. These, in fact, are some of the exact tips and strategies that I talk with our clients about. So there is that. That's a huge plus, right? But the thing is, these are not just for Thanksgiving. These tips, these strategies, everything I'm going to share with you today, these are things that you can use any day. And in fact, I would encourage you, if you're looking toward goals, health goals, weight loss goals, like feeling better, having more energy kinds of goals, but you don't want to like go all in, or you're concerned that focusing on that, making it a big goal is one of those things that is just going to overwhelm you and you're not going to know where to start and you feel like you're going to throw your hands up in the air and say like, I can't do this. If that's you, I would encourage you to use these tips as a baby step toward making change in your eating habits, in your moving habits, like just in general, to get healthier. This is a really good way to dip your toe in the water, but there are also things that you can do with very little effort. You're not going to feel like you're changing a lot about the way you eat and about the way you live. So that's why I'm recording this, because I thought like, okay, so I'll mention that it's Thanksgiving on the day that you're actually listening to this episode, but you may be listening to this weeks, months, years later, and these are things you can use anytime. So that's why I'm here today. So like first I want you, before I give you the tips, first of what I want you to do is I want you to think about like, why are you actually wanting to make some change? Why is it that you're wanting to lose weight? Why are you wanting to get healthier? Why do you feel like you need more energy? Why do you want to be more comfortable in your clothes? Like, I think it's important for us to think about more than just the goals that we have, because it's so much more than just like, I want to lose weight. There's got to be a reason for that. You didn't just wake up and go, oh, you know what? Today I think I'll just start trying to lose some weight. These are typically the kinds of things that we think about for a long time. And there are a lot deeper reasons for why we want to do these things. And so I would really encourage you to spend a little bit of time thinking about like why you want to do that. Then you're much more likely to be successful in using the tips that I'm about to give you, or really in making any kind of change. All right. So, and I could just do episodes and episodes on those reasons and the why and all the mindset stuff behind that. But I really want to focus on giving you tips for how you can practice a little bit of moderation, if you will, during, like I said, this Thanksgiving meal later today, and anytime you can use these. All right. So we want to enjoy ourselves, but you don't want to undo all the work you've been doing if you've been already making changes. And you definitely want to get on a path toward making better decisions, eating healthier, those kinds of things. All right, so right to the tips. Number one, eat before you have the big Thanksgiving meal. And if it's any other day of the year, if you're about to go out to a restaurant, or you're going to a party, or you're going to a wedding where they're going to serve food, or any kind of event meal, eat before the meal. Don't save room. Don't make that mistake. And I hear this from women all the time. Like, I'm going to save room for Thanksgiving dinner by not eating all day. Don't save room for the big meal by starving yourself. during the early part of the day. That always backfires, okay? If your holiday meal is dinner, for example, then eat breakfast and eat lunch normally. Now, you might eat a little bit lighter, but have those regularly scheduled meals. That way, you are less likely, much less likely to overeat at the time of the meal if you make sure you eat regularly and fuel your body with the nutrition that you need. Tip 2, there is definitely a way that you can build a healthier Thanksgiving plate, or any time that you're plating your food. There are really practical strategies you can use to plate that food in a way that is much healthier for you and keeps you from overindulging. My clients don't count calories, they don't calculate and track macros, but if you do things in the way that I'm about to share with you, you are definitely not going to eat near as many calories at a sitting as you would, all right? And you're going to be a lot more likely too to have that macronutrient balance, that if you're used to a macro focus, you're going to have a much more balanced kind of macronutrient meal than if you just kind of go after it, all right? So here's how you should think about plating your food. So you have a dinner plate, right? Fill half of that plate. If you think about the plate and think about it like a pie chart, all right? So if you draw a line straight down the middle of the plate or straight across, whichever way your brain works, fill half of that plate with greens, with vegetables, right? And of course, there are vegetables that are prepared in a way that can be much healthier, and ways to prepare veggies that are less healthy. You may not have a lot of control over that if you're eating at someone else's house for Thanksgiving, for example. If you do have control over it, if you're hosting, then clearly there are some things you can do in the preparation of those dishes to make them healthier. But whatever kinds of vegetables are there for you to eat, fill about half of your plate with salad, with veggies, all right? Preferably steamed kinds of things. Then load up a quarter of your plate, right? So half of that half with turkey or whatever lean meat. Maybe it's ham, whatever it is, put it on about a quarter of that plate. Now, you know, a serving size of turkey or lean meat, I get this question all the time. That does depend on some things. Like a serving for me is not going to be the same as what a normal or a healthy serving of food turkey is for my husband, right? And that there's a lot that goes into those calculations, but nonetheless, you can kind of think about a portion being maybe like the size of a deck of cards. And there are a lot of different analogies that I could give you for that, but that doesn't mean that you're like, eating the entire turkey breast, right? Or the entire leg quarter. So you want to fill about a quarter of your plate with, like I said, the lean meats. And then the last quarter of your plate, that's where you can go for the kind of goodies, the mashed potatoes, the whatever kind of casseroles that you have. These are usually like the creamier, carbier kinds of sides that we have at celebratory or holiday meals. These are the things you probably have come to know as comfort foods. You can use the last quarter of your plate for that. When you plate your food that way, you're going to have a much more filling, balanced meal that has nutrition in it that your body can use as fuel, and you're not overloading your body with the heavy creams and the sauces and the carb kinds of, starchy kinds of dishes that really are not going to give you the energy that you need. One more tip about that, I would say, if you really want to go a little extra step in being healthy and how you plate your food, the last quarter that I said, you can have those more comfort kinds of foods like the mashed potatoes. Instead of filling the entire quarter of your plate there, only use half of that final quarter. And I'll tell you why in just a second. So put a pin in that thought. So tip 3. Seconds. How many times have you finished your first plate and you automatically, especially on holidays, go back for seconds? When you're finished eating what's on your plate, instead of immediately going back for more, wait. Just wait before you get seconds. I'm not saying don't have them, right? But I want you to give your brain time to register what you've eaten, right? If you do decide that you want more after you wait 15 minutes or so, just be mindful about the foods that you choose to get seconds of. Make sure that it's something that you really, really want, and then think about, again, those guidelines that I gave you for plating your food. Now, tip number 4, and here's where the little 1/8 of a plate comes in that you saved, right? Do you want that pie? Do you want that cobbler? Whatever the dessert is, do you want it? It is fine to have a small portion. If it's pie, have a smaller slice than you typically do. If you want it, have it. Just make it a smaller portion and make it 1 slice of pie, 1 scoop of cobbler. There's no reason, and put it on that 1/8 of a plate. And here's how that helps you, right? So when you get a dessert plate, you are much more likely to have larger portions of that dessert if you put it on a separate plate. If you go ahead and put it on your plate, when you make your plate with your food, put it on that little sliver that's left, you only have a little bit of space left. You are more inclined to get a smaller sliver, and you don't even really miss it. If you put it on your plate when you're eating your food, you have that savory, those few savory bites, you know that it was your choice to do it, you enjoy it, and dang sure don't beat yourself up after you've eaten it, okay? Because remember, we're doing things that are about building habits, healthy habits, getting more disciplined so that you can be very sustainable and intentional in the way that you live. So you're really changing your identity. So we're not focused on, oh, I'm on a diet, I've got to deprive myself, oh, I've got to skip the pie. That's not what this is about if you truly want to make change that's lasting in your life. So enjoy that sliver, and then know that it is totally normal to want to have pie and enjoy dessert. So don't beat yourself up over it. Tip number 5, drink all the water and then some, okay? So keep in mind that water does a ton of really good things for your body. Now, my clients have a customized nutrition strategy that they follow. They know how much water they need to be drinking in a day. And if you're not doing that, you really, really want to make sure that you're hydrating really, really well. And here's one reason. Oftentimes, our bodies are not used to as much of the kind of creamy, heavier kinds of foods. No matter how you've been eating, your body may not respond really well to that if you eat a lot of it during a holiday meal. Even if you only eat a little bit, my clients will tell me, like, that doesn't set well with me anymore. It can give me an upset tummy if I eat too much, too many carby kinds of sides. And that's great. That's your body saying, you know what, I really like the healthy stuff that you're putting in me, and I'm going to give you a indicator when you don't put something that's super healthy in me. So don't worry about that. You may get a little bit queasy. The reason I tell you to make sure that you're hydrating really, really well is, first off, your body needs that water, but second of all, it can really help with that queasiness, and it can head off the potential for you getting an upset stomach with too much heavy kind of creamy foods at a meal like this or on holiday kinds of things. And so the water's going to minimize that. It's going to keep your digestion going, and bonus benefit, it's going to help keep you full longer. And so that's going to make it less likely for you to overeat. Number 6, tip number 6, moderation matters. It really, really does. I mean, if you check out the links below this episode, below the show notes, I'm going to link everything that I've just told you, all the tips. I'm going to have that all laid out for you, and I'm also going to give you a visual of the plating method that I just talked about. So it'll be, when you see that, go to that link. When you see it, I think it's going to really solidify what I'm talking about. But I'm also, in the show notes, I'm going to list out what a typical Thanksgiving plate looks like for an American. All right. We don't count calories in my food. In my program, like I mentioned before. But to give you just an idea of what that list is going to look like when I lay out what a typical meal is on Thanksgiving for people in the United States, that adds up. A typical Thanksgiving Day meal adds up to almost 2,500 calories. And that is a crazy amount of calories for one meal. So, going back to that idea of moderation, you just want to really choose your foods with a little more care, not depriving yourself, but in a way that you can indulge a little bit, but avoid having a single meal that's actually more calorie filled than what you should be eating in an entire day. All right. So I'm going to wrap up here. If you're listening to this and it's Thanksgiving Day, I wish you the happiest, best Thanksgiving. I hope that you enjoy your family, your friends, whoever you're with today. Make Thanksgiving this year a little different than perhaps in the past. Just make a couple of other healthier choices. Take a little baby step toward doing something that's really great for your body, and you may see a side benefit of the scale going down a little bit. And just keep in mind the very real reasons that you want to be healthy, that you want to have more energy, that maybe you do want to lose some fat off of your body. Those reasons, those whys, as we say, are so much larger. They're so much more powerful, and they taste, if you will, so much better than any food that you can chew and swallow today. And the benefit of that all lasts a lot longer than, I don't know, the joy that you might get out of eating a little bit of food. Happy Thanksgiving, y'all. I hope you enjoy yourself. And so I appreciate you guys spending today with me at whatever point you're listening to this episode. And I hope you have a blessed and wonderful holiday. I will see you right back here next week.